It's your boy Ant, and today we have a very important guest. It's a little bit more unique than our past guests because this is our official Bob partner. So that's kind of cool to have one of our partners and clients, someone who's in the building in the business of what we do in the financial services space, who has a similar passion and understands the journey finance, being a person of color and also a woman in finance. So you guys are going to hear a lot of exciting stuff from her point of view, and then we're going to talk about what the Bob partnership opportunity is and what we're doing to really change how acts work together in this finance and tech space. So welcome, Renee Norris of Urban Wealth Management. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much for having me on here to share. And I'm so excited to be with you. And I've known you for a number of years, and how many phenomenal conversations that we've had, because there's just a handful of us who are in this industry. And at Urban Wealth Management, and I will give some background about why and how I started this firm, because this is key. And even though here it is multiple years later, based on the number of years I've been in this industry, things have just gone up just a little bit as far as us as people of color and as women. And so I will go over that with you because and share the reasons why this was established.
No, well, definitely, we're excited to hear, and we definitely want to learn. I'm interested to learn, how did you even like get in the business? Like, what made you start Urban Wealth Management? What was like the key driver of your decision to get into finance and then start your own firm?
Well, that is a very good question, because what started and the reasons why and how, and my designation for coming into this industry was based on the fact that as we were growing up, and just as a brief description of what occurred during my lifetime, and I became really, really interested in coming into the industry, as well as my siblings. And this is really key, and this is ironic. We're in different areas within the industry, but in financial industry, but not as investors or financial planning people or etc. But the bottom line is that the reasons why I decided to do this was because back in the days when I was growing up, and my mom at that time was divorced, and she was raising 3 kids on her own. And we were all at that time under the age of 10. And even though she got her degree, she had gone back to school and she had gotten she was already out of college, but she went back to get her master's to get her degree in clinical social working. But she wasn't paid in a proper manner. She wasn't paid a lot of money on it. And we all started working at a very early age. My first job, and I was doing some consulting at age 13, and I was teaching young kids about how to be focused there in their school and teaching them a few things. In any event, what I was going to say, and which I have posted, is that my mom had to borrow money from us because she didn't have adequate money to pay expenses. She did pay us back as soon as she got some money back. And then she taught us how to save money and go to the bank and put money in and start building up our own savings accounts. And over the years, as things began to go up, and back in those days, that was back in the 60s, women, and especially Black women, were paid only about 30%
Mm.
of what men were paid. And even in the industry that she was in, which was in the medical industry, which was extremely high end, there was the need there as a clinical social worker, that she wasn't even compensated as much as men were. And so, bottom line is that it all taught me, my brother, my sister, that we definitely needed to learn how to, because our mother was teaching that as well. And over the years, as things got better for her, and her income started to go up still, and women still are not paid, which we will talk more about. Even here it is, multiple years later, 60 years later, we are still not compensated at the same level that men are. And especially if you're black or brown, you're not compensated at the same level. So the bottom line is that, ironically, that was my reason for deciding, this would be important to be in the financial industry and learn how to grow up wealth. My brother was in the banking industry, not as a banker, but he was at a major bank. He started out on the banking side, then extended it, expanded it, expanded. He was at B of A and was very, very high end with helping internally with a lot of their staff about how to access their internal. And my sister, who is on the CPA side, teaching people how to do their taxes properly. So this is phenomenal, even though that was not the objective of her mother, but we all knew that ironically, that we fell into those different industries, those different versions, instead of going into different areas. And at the end of the day, it's important. How do you build up your wealth? And what is your knowledge base that you need to have? So that was my primary initiative.
And I think, as I talk to founders all the time, I think, one of the strongest drivers is whenever you've witnessed, your parents or a very close family member in a way that puts a burning passion in you, right, to change your circumstance so you may be in a better position when you're of their age, or to help, to give back. A lot of times I see that where you're trying to make sure that you can watch their potential obstacles or shortcomings and then turn those into positive opportunities for yourself, and then come back and teach that family member what you've learned in your journey. I kind of did the same. My mom's in the nursing field. She's always worked. But as I got more exposure to like investing and entrepreneurship, I used to start to later in life really encourage her to take her skills and turn those skills into ownership for herself. And I was impactful on her. And she's now at what, she's 65, and she's doing stuff at 65 she could have never imagined, when she was 35, but she's becoming like a powerful businesswoman. And it's interesting for me because I saw both ways where it's very rewarding to see my experience impact my mom. So that's good to hear. So for our audience, I would like you to speak about, um, you don't get to where you are, right? I understand because I'm in finance. The audience may not understand how difficult it is to get to the level of assets under management, meaning the amount of money your firm manages for other people. As a black woman in America, it's terribly hard, and where you sit would probably be one of the firm in the country, right? And so with that, talk about some of the challenges to get there. Like, what could you speak to for the audience to understand how challenging that journey was?
It was very challenging initially. And this is yet another reason why I wanted to establish my own firm. So, first off, these major firms, and I hope there's a handful of them that are finally recognizing that they've been doing things incorrectly and improperly. But bottom line is that the initiative of these major firms is that somebody has to have X amount of, thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars before they will work with them. And at the most highest level, which has been my primary initiative, is because us as women, and especially of people of color, we don't have all of that because we got kicked back. We had so many items taken away, and we had to start, since we were slaves for many years, that we had to really start building up our financial lives and starting to build up our wealth. And so that is why my initiative has been, people don't have to, and they shouldn't have to have a bulk of money to be working with a firm. The most important element is to give financial advice first off, to make sure that one is making the proper directives and has an understanding. And it's basically just really looking to train people and provide them with some consultations so that they know what to do, what not to do. For example, just as an example, and because we do provide financial planning, because that is at the top of the list, because all of these other firms now, they're finally starting to offer financial planning. When I left these major firms, that was even though I've been a CFP, certified financial planner, for multiple years, and I provided that service. But at the bottom of the top of the list and the bottom is that oftentimes, and this is a perfect example, everybody knows how much money they make. You say, well, what's your payroll? What's this? Oh, I make X amount of dollars. Do you know how much you spent? No, I don't. Do you keep a copy of it? No, I don't. Do you have any money set aside for emergency? No, I don't. That had been my primary initiative. And, at the end of the day, when somebody says, oh, I want to do some investing, if you don't have any adequate savings, you don't have emergency, don't invest. Because if you're investing, that is long term. You need to understand the difference. And so many people said, oh, thank you so much. Did not know that. I said, once you get X amount, have at least 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses saved. Then, when you have that, then we can start talking about investing. And again, as I always say, when you're talking about investing, you're talking about investing for long term, because we know markets go up, they go down, they go up, they go down, but they always, even if they go down, they'll continue to go up. And we don't want you to sell, come out, or be stressed. If you see the markets are down, just make sure that you have adequate funds. So that was my primary initiative when I was at these major firms. And I had so many people to say, oh, thank you so much. In addition to some other conversations, how much do I owe you for the financial planning advice? Nothing, because these firms were not supportive of financial planners.
I think that's important for people to hear, right? Because we talk about it all the time. And that's why, as Bob, Black owned business, like we have this focus on the community,
Yes.
because you're working for these large firms. You see the requirements for the clients that you can work with. And because you're a Black woman, you understand your community in most cases can't meet these requirements. And so
Yes.
it's almost like you having to work because you do have to provide for your family. But at the same token, because I know from my dealings with you, or have a giving spirit, you're trying to figure out or how to understand how to overcome this obstacle while working in these large firms. How do you change your people? How do you touch people who look like you? Right. And by the standards of what they have set in place, you can't, because to your point, the wealth that's available in our community is just not the same. The match is not the same because we started at different points. Your point is slavery, right? We started kind of behind the starting line. And so we're still making up even hundreds of years later. And I
Yes.
can imagine that could be very challenging going into an office every day, not being able to, one, work with people who look like you, and then two, not being able to comfortably serve people who look like you. I only imagine how challenging that was before you launch your own firm, and now you can dictate who you want to do business with, which has to be rewarding for sure. So, which brings me to a point. if you were still working at those big companies, could you be a Bob Technologies partner? I would say no.
Yeah, exactly. Because they'll be like, no,
No.
we're not, no. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because we try, right? We try to do some partnerships, and we've had some success in some small areas. But overall, with the larger wirehouses, like generally, it's terribly difficult to get in on their vendor list, right? So
Yes.
it's exciting that we can work together. You have your own firm, you can make your own calls, and so you decided you would partner with our company to bring technology to your firm in a way to actually achieve what you just talked about. Bring your investment strategies to the masses for the most part, right? So,
Yes.
so how did that make you feel? Like, can you talk to us about that? The idea.
Happy, happy, happy.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's exciting for us from our standpoint because we talked about being a benefit to firms like yours years ago, right? We understand and we see where technology is just it's scarce at black firms with different black organizations because technology is expensive for one. But to your point, in our community, it's like finance, right? It's something that's just not discussed, but it's become such a demand. Like if you're a small business or a large business at this point, you have to have technology. You're dependent upon it. And so for us, it was exciting to partner to bring this level of empowerment to a black owned firm that's woman led. Like that was exciting for us as an organization.
Yes.
And so that's on our side. What we're excited about what this partnership is like to show the world this is what happens when you work together. Like you're able to establish yourself in an industry that is traditionally not people who look like us, and we're doing it. So that's why I'm excited about this partnership.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. So talk to us about the Smart Savvy Women investment strategy that we're launching for you. Can you tell the audience kind of what that strategy is about and like where did it come from your side? Like what made you want to launch this strategy with us?
Sure. So, first off, just as an additional background, the primary reasons why I wanted to establish that and the reasons why I established my firm, just as a starting point back in 2012, was to have an all female based firm.
Mm,
Because, number one, everyone in the industry, in the financial industry, in a variety of industries, but a bunch of people in the financial industry and the investment industry were not supportive. And they did not support a lot of female um, clients. So, but because women are multitaskers, because we do so many things in addition to building up our professional lives. So that, in addition to raising families, having babies,
mm,
not only taking care of and having children, but also we tend to also are very supportive of our family members. So we are all of those things. So I'm just bringing that up before I get into that particular, answering your question about that particular item that you and I are working on building up. That women have not been supportive in so many ways, and now that we are finally in this role, where in addition to the fact that still we're not compensated at the same level after saying now we finally are up to still not earning as much as men. We're up to 80% now, but back multiple years ago, we were, like I said, 30%, then it went up to 40, then 50, 60, but we're still not there. So my objective was and is to focus on savvy women who are running these publicly traded firms
mm,
who either have started it and are running it, and to support them to see an increase in those values, and for a variety of people, women and men, to
Mm.
support and invest, because we are, for the first time in multiple years, finally seeing women running these big, big, major firms. And I say, even though this group that you see here, this Smart Women Savvy Money, which was a group I created multiple years ago, where we do monthly webinars that are focused on doing training and uh, a variety of elements to get people updated. And we have a lot of men that listen to it too. And it's just not about investing, but it's about how do you build up your financial life. It could be on estate planning, could be on, do you understand what insurance coverages are? Not doing any selling, but the bottom line is supporting women in a variety of elements. And so now, having this and creating this portfolio that you and I have worked on, that is key, that we are supporting women who are running these big, major firms, and everyone will see that their investments will go up based on having the opportunity to not only support these firms that are run by women and have a number of women who might not be the CEOs, but they're the COOs, they're in their marketing, they're in high levels, and they will eventually and soon. And we've seen this happen a couple of times so far this year with these major firms where women have stepped up and are now the CEOs of these big firms. In any event, it is a great opportunity to just not support women, but to support ourselves and how we can build up our wealth and grow it over years.
No, that's good. And just so the audience understands the impact of what we're doing as a unit, right? So what happened is Renee uses our technology to implement her investment strategy. So normally as an advisor, your investment strategy is performed by you, right? You go in, you trade your clients' accounts, you perform the rebalancing, and you're responsible for the management of each of your clients' dollars, right? Well, with our technology, we automated that process for her. Why does that matter and why is it such a significant event? It's because now she can service clients at all account levels, right? So the $1,000 client or the $100 client, all the way up to the $5 million client, and it's all automated. So it allows her time to bring awareness around what her strategy's mission is and what her purpose around forming a strategy is about. And so that's why the partnership is so powerful, right? We're excited about it because we get to, empower a Black female advisor, and we get to achieve our mission, which is to get more people of color investing in the stock market. And so it just works, and we're excited about it. And we look forward to seeing the results in time. Let me ask this: do you have any other company announcements you'd like the audience to know about that you want to leave us with?
There are a couple of things. And there's number one, that it's key to look at extending, expanding, and building out and getting more and more people on board, because of the fact, and we're so blessed, and that we have clients all over the country and even outside the US,
Hmm.
that it is key that we want to get more females on board. And because, of course, women love working with women, but we have a lot of men who are very interested. That has been the case in the last couple of years, where they recognize the significance of working with women because we listen, not just us, but women in general, and that women do care and provide some inspective and significant ideas and thoughts about how they can build up their lives in a much better way. Again, just not about investing, although that is key, but we do really listen And so one of the key points is really at this point looking to expand and extend our firm in a major, major way. In addition to that, looking to explore, in addition to this one portfolio that you and I have been working on, just as another thought, is to be able to expand and extend this other portfolio that I've been managing for 8 years.
Okay.
And at that time, it was called SRI, Socially Responsible portfolios. And a lot of people said, oh, I like that idea. We want to just be investing, with these companies that really care about people, are doing the appropriate things here in the US, etc. And I've been so blessed in that portfolios, two different ones, moderate and aggressive, have gone up quite a bit in value. So we will definitely be looking to expand the availability and teaching and providing the appropriate steps for people to know what they ought to do and know to build up their wealth and to protect themselves as well as their family and in their future. That is going to be a key component. So we definitely want to, in addition to, and that's why I call it the savvy, smart women, the fact that these are women who are running these companies, and we will be expanding and getting more and more smart women to come on board here, and we'll be able to, we are in the process of getting more on this year. That is going to be a very important part of building up and supporting women and people of color, which is so important because still a lot of these firms, even though they've started to pick up a little bit, they're not completely there yet, but we are.
And that's the beauty about the partnership. So we're so excited to be of value to your firm. We're excited to see what the future looks like. And bring the audience your strategy, man. Like that's gonna be cool. So again, thank you for being a guest on the podcast. Thank you for being a partner of Bob. And thank you for being a Bob, a black owned business. So we're
Let Bob be Bob.
right. So we're excited to celebrate you. So
Thank you.
with that, I'll say this has been a great episode, another great episode of Let Bob Podcast. You can find us at We Are Let Bob on all social media platforms. You can find me at I Am Let Bob on all social media platforms. And we are out.